and the owner of Terra restaurant in excuse me in here in Provo, Utah, at the University Mall.
It's in Orem, actually.
Is it Orem? Okay,
yes.
Orem at the University Mall. And it was kind of funny the way I found your restaurant. First of all, we were at the movies, and we weren't able to get the tickets because the tickets had sold out or something like that. And then, so we were hungry, and we started looking around, and behind us is your restaurant, right across from the University Mall, or the University movie theaters. And so we thought, well, let's get something to eat before we get in for the second showing, or where we can get the tickets, and stumbled into your restaurant by mistake, actually. And it was a nice surprise, and have been back quite a few times because of the menu that you have, of which we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the menu and other things. So first of all, Ernesto, where are you from?
So I'm from Italy. I was born and raised there. I came to the United States in '96, and I was born in the city of Napoli, which it's Naples here.
Right. So you call it Napoli?
Napoli, yes.
And we call it Naples?
Naples.
American
yes.
butchery. Yeah, we butcher.
Yeah, we have to change names here in English to make it more pronounceable, I guess.
Uh-huh. So how would you say in Italian? Oh, thank you so much. Gonna try them up. How would you say I am from Naples?
Io sono di Napoli.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, people like that kind of stuff. Yeah. So now, what brought you here?
So in '94, I married this girl that I fell in love with, and we lived in Italy for a couple of years. And she was originally from Orem, Utah, and far from me the idea to ever move to Orem, Utah. And we lived in Naples. We felt that was the place where we should raise our kids. But after 2 years of bottling Naples is not the easiest place to be in. Mm-hmm. We decided to move here to the United States.
Now, you have a really interesting story about how you met her. Where did you meet her?
So we met we served both in the Catania mission and LDS mission.
Now, how many missions, and this is a Latter-day Saint mission, and so how many missions within Italy, do you know?
Yeah, right now there's only 2 missions in Italy, but back in the days there were 4 missions. Okay. They're just combining missions, they're making more stakes, so the church is growing over there. Mm-hmm. And I was serving in a mission that was about an hour and a half train ride from my home. And of course, it was very much feeling like a home, but not for those Americans. They mm-hmm. came all the way to Italy, excited and ready to gain some weight.
Yes,
that's what happened to most of the missionaries over there.
That's funny, I bet. So you met her on your mission, your wife?
I did, yes. And after the mission, during the mission we met, we became friends. But the spark actually started after the mission. After the mission, she decided to go for study abroad at the Jerusalem Center.
Now, she was a BYU student?
She was a BYU student.
And BYU offers those types of programs.
Correct.
Yeah.
And she went there for 6 months. And before she went to Jerusalem, she decided to do a tour of the Italian mission. So she called up a few friends. And
now, how long had she been home?
She had been home, I would guess, about 6 months.
Okay.
Since.
And did she call you?
She called me, and she called some other friends, and we all together organized a tour of the mission. And we went and visited Sicily and the southern parts of Italy. And I remember this wonderful feeling to see her again, and just
in a different setting, of course.
Yeah, she was like a breath of fresh air for me. And I realized that I really liked her when my telephone bill came. After she left for Jerusalem, I guess we kept calling each other, and my phone bill was like $1,000.
Oh,
back in the days, the telephone, there was no Skype or any of the technologies that we have today. So my dad was like, $1,000 phone bill?
For a girl.
For a girl. And so we decided that would have been a good idea for her to fly back to Naples before she would go back to home. So we started dating. And a year later, we decided to get married.
Okay. And so you dated there, or did you date here?
Well, we went back and forth. Mm-hmm. She would come and visit for a month. I would come here and visit for a while. We were making airline company rich. So
and
we couldn't afford the dating, so we had to get married, basically.
Right. And what did your parents think of her? Because she's an American. Did they want you? Now, first of all, your parents LDS or Latter-day Saint?
No, they're not.
Okay. So were you raised
I joined the LDS Church, the Latter-day Saints Church, when I was 20 years old.
Okay.
And decided to go on a mission a year later.
That's very similar to me. That's exactly pretty much what I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 19, and then I went on a mission. I mean, you have to wait till you're 21, but yeah, I joined the church and really decided right away I wanted to go on a mission. That's funny. Yeah, I was raised Catholic.
Yeah,
Catholic
same for me.
To Italy.
Same for me, yeah.
So your parents thought what?
You know, I was a little rebellious kid when I...
And you come... How many siblings in your family?
I have 2 younger brothers and a younger sister,
so
I'm
the
oldest. Yeah.
Okay.
And my mom was a little concerned about me and the choices I was making in my youth. And I remember that after I joined the church, she told me she had been praying to have me find God in my life.
Oh.
And so that was a great testimony to her that God does listen to prayers. Mm-hmm. And that made her really much closer to her own faith and religion.
Good.
I was very happy about that. But when I joined the church, they were pleased about the change that I had. Yeah. So a little less happy when I decided to go on a mission. Let's say I was in law school. That was my dad's dream, and he was very appalled when I decided to go on a mission for 2 years. He was like,
did you quit law school in order to go on the mission?
Yeah, you know.
So that's a big sacrifice, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because in Italy, university it's very focused. You don't have any general education. It's very specific.
Very specific. Yeah.
So right after high school, you go into
your field.
Yeah.
I've heard that about Europe, different parts of Europe. So Italy's the same way then.
Yeah, but mission helped me to realize I didn't want to be an attorney. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're a breed of their own. I don't see you as an attorney.
Yeah,
I can see you more so with this restaurant and having some fun. So.
Yeah, I like having fun. I love businesses. So when I came here to the United States, I, of course, didn't speak the English. I had to start everything
and you were
from
married
scratch. I was married at the time. We had no children because social medicine, it's really not the same.
Right, and so Italy is it's a socialist government?
Yeah, it's more of a social
setup. It's more set up that way. You have
so we have
parliament
social medicine, we have a parliament, we have a senate.
Yeah. A lot of
Italy apparently is a lot in the news, and not just for the fashion right now.
Yeah, that's right. And you do have great fashion, but and great food. But yeah, it's been in the news lately, and not for positive reasons. And everybody's concerned about Italy. Now I know, and we kind of going off the topic a little bit, but I know that you just you went there, and you just returned from there just recently, right?
Yeah, I just
got back
on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I have a business in Italy as well, and so I decided to go and take care of that business for a while, visit my family. So I go about 3-4 times a year. Always try to find new recipes and new ideas for the food, because food is my passion.
Yeah.
It really is. But as I said, I love businesses, so I started different businesses and different things in different directions. And one of them, it is in Italy, so I have to go there. I have a good excuse to go there.
You have a great excuse. That's always a good excuse to go home and visit. Yeah. So in conversing with you, I did discover that you have owned quite a few businesses actually, and it's quite impressive because, you're not from here. And you came here, and you're a successful businessman, which is impressive in itself. And now you have, I think you have two. You have another budding restaurant outside of Terra. Is that correct?
Yes, it's. We're not very creative with names. We call them Mamma Mia.
Okay, so Terra. Now, what does Terra mean?
Terra means my land.
Okay.
So the idea was really to have a corner of my homeland there in that restaurant. We want to have food that is very authentic. In fact, we import all our products. We make everything from scratch. We follow recipes that are given to me by my great grandmother, for instance, for our lasagna.
Right, and I found that very fascinating because when I interviewed you, or we spoke and we met earlier this week, I didn't realize that you were actually importing the ingredients.
Yeah,
which was really neat. So,
Napolitan style pizza is a product that's recognized at the European Union level. So they have some very specific requirements to be called a Napolitan pizza. It has to be made with a specific flour, specific tomatoes. And so we have to import those in order to be considered a Napolitan-style pizza.
So it's kind of a trademark, would you say?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just like Parmigiano, it has to be aged a certain number of years, and it has to be made with a specific milk and so on and so forth. Prosciutto, some wines have the same thing, like champagne in France.
Mm-hmm.
So in Europe, a lot of the products that are very characteristic of a region, they get protected. And so not everybody can say, oh, my pizza is Napolitan pizza. I'm waiting for gelato to be a protected item because so that Costco doesn't call what they give gelato, but they call it differently because
and we're going to talk about gelato because I had his gelato and went taste testing in the morning, and it was wonderful. And my favorite was the mango, by the way, the mango and the strawberry as well. And you know, being a girl, you would think I would like the chocolate one, which when we've gone in there, I think a couple of times, my daughter has chosen the chocolate, so I've always just had the chocolate. But yeah, that was really good. But anyhow, so then you did return back from Italy just recently, and you did have the businesses. You have the business over there, and you've had several businesses here. And what do you think has? And again, we're talking to Ernesto Larousso, folks. For you, those who are just joining us, owner and proprietor of Terra restaurant here, located in University Mall, right across from the Cinemark movie theaters. So if you have a chance, please go and taste, especially the tomato basil soup is my favorite. And so there's a lot of things that are my favorite now, are becoming my favorite. So anyhow, we'll talk about the menu in a few minutes. But again, so you got married, you came here, and you lived back and forth. And you had a funny story about your wife, I think, because she's blonde.
Oh yeah, when we lived in Italy, we lived in an area that was very popular. When I mean popular was Italy, it's very trafficked. Naples, it's full of people, and we had an open market. There were not many places where you can go and jog. So she would go out and she would go jogging on the street. And what happened to a blonde girl with blue eyes in Naples is that every boy wants to conquer her, and so she would get a lot of compliments. And day one, it's amusing. Day two, it's funny. Day three, it gets tiring. So she would come home and she would be frustrated. I noticed that she would start going out with a hoodie every time she would go running.
Hiding her
she
hair.
Just couldn't stand it anymore. She got to the point where she really hated it. And I told her, I said, you know, it's very simple to handle these Italians. Italians do feel like they're a gift from God to women.
And I think that we see Italians that way too. So it's probably not so much your fault as well, but I think the world sees Italian as being romantic, and you know, and we are entertained by that, and then of course it's fueled that way probably.
Yeah, so. And so the Italians do play their role. They take it very seriously as Latin lovers. So I told her, I said, you know, next time you're approached by a boy, your breath stinks in dialects. And I can assure you that it is one of those statements that will stop any Italian Latin lover right on its tracks. And so one day she came back home and she was all excited. She said, it works. And I, of course, I had forgotten what she was talking about. And she said, this boy approached me and she said, ciao bella. And I said, te feto chat. And his jaw dropped. He didn't say a word. He just walked away. And funny. She was very happy to have a weapon to defend herself. Yeah,
that's right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And again, if you're just joining us, we are speaking to Ernesto Larousso of Terra restaurant, owner and proprietor there. And if you haven't had a chance to go there, you should visit there. It's lunch hour, and you need to drive on down there today and try. Which is really handy because if you want to go to see a movie, go a little early, have some dinner, and then go see your movie. Yes. That's my suggestion.
And we're actually doing a special today just for you listeners. We thought that 1480 a.m., it's 1480, it's a good number. And so you can buy 2 pizzas for 1480 today.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
so
good.
1480, it's what you have to mention at the cash register, and you can choose any of our pizzas.
And I can see our production production go, they're going to leave right after here and head down to Terra Mia. Good choice.
2 pizzas for 1480.
Yeah. So that's great.
Pizzas.
Yeah, so mention 1480 a.m. and you will get 2 pizzas for $14.80. Is that correct?
Very good.
Yeah. And their
Yes.
pizzas are great. I love the margarita.
Yeah.
And we will talk about. Let's see. We're going to talk about that.
Hey, Monica
Yes, sir.
and Ernesto, this is Kent, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that offer include, do you have something to go? Will
Yes.
you make it to go?
Yes, people can
Takeaway?
order to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, people can even call the food in. I'm gonna give the phone number out.
Right, so I can pick up my 2 pizzas for $14.80 later on tonight.
Very good. Very good.
Excellent.
Yeah, there
Thanks.
you go.
So
See? We're-
just call the number. It's 801-226-4757. I said again. And, the staff there should be trained and ready to give you the deal.
And the fun thing about going there, it's kind of an experience because when I've been there, I hear people talking Italian, speaking
yeah.
Italian. So you have people in the back that are speaking Italian, and it just feels nice. It feels comfortable, like you're actually eating. Okay, you're eating Italian food, but you're also hearing some of it because you wouldn't think to find that. Being in an American restaurant, just the menu
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But speaking Italian when you're ordering and things like that is kind of fun.
The culture, it's very important. The pizza, how we make the pizza, it's something that not everybody can do. I mean, our pizza, for instance, a whole pizza is less calories than one slice of Costco pizza. And it's not to talk down Costco pizza. I love it. It's just you reach my age, you can't afford to eat too many of those slices.
You reach our age,
Yeah.
you're not able to. Yeah, and I like that because then it's kind of you're a little guilt-free as far as if you want to have 2 slices or 3 slices as opposed to going across to Costco and having 1 slice and feeling guilty.
Yeah.
The whole pizza, you can eat the whole pizza.
Yeah,
Literally.
you can eat the whole pizza. And the dough, it's raised naturally, and it's much easier to digest. Also, we have a brick oven that we imported from Naples as well, because it has to have a special opening that is a special dimension, so that
really?
you can cook the pizza in about 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that. That was surprising.
The temperature that the oven can reach is over 900 degrees.
Oh, wow.
And so it cooks the pizza really fast. It's a thin crust pizza.
Yeah,
but
the thin
It's
crust,
very
yeah.
healthy, very easy to digest.
And it's very good, folks. It really, really is. It's delicious. And one of my favorites just to have with my tomato basil soup is the focaccia bread. The
Oh,
focaccia, is that the way I'm
yes.
saying that right? Yeah.
I would say focaccia, but
Focaccia, thank you.
yeah.
So, anyhow, so let's see, what else are we going to? So you have owned previous businesses. Tell me about when you first got to the United States, what you actually did. What was your employment? How did you feel? First of all, coming to Utah from Italy, the climate is a lot different. And then coming here to a colder climate, because Naples it's warmer, right? It's Mediterranean,
It's Mediterranean.
and you
so-
don't get snow.
No, we don't get snow. It gets pretty cold, and it's humid. So you feel that cold more than you even feel the cold here. Although the temperature here it's much lower.
Is it so it's wet? It's a wet.
It's a
this is
wet
dry,
feel, yeah. But coming here was the biggest challenge was probably the language. I had picked up English because I had been married for 2 years with an American girl before coming here, right? And so Julie would speak English every time she was mad, and I gave her plenty of opportunity to get mad at me. So she spoke quite a bit of English, and I kind of felt that I could understand quite a bit of her English. But coming here was a different story. Back in '96, Utah County was even different than what it is now.
Oh
It was
yeah,
a
it's
little
changed
more,
a lot.
Yeah,
recently.
it is.
and for
It
and a
was
good reason. It is
much
good.
rural, and I was welcome in a family that was of farmers, and at the dinner table I remember Sam, Julie's stepdad, saying, "Pass me the cow juice." I'm like, "What?" Cow juice for milk. But it was very fun to realize how little of English I understood when I get here.
I've never heard cow juice,
Yeah.
so that's the first.
Yeah.
Is it referring to milk?
It was referring to milk.
Cow
Just
juice.
pass
Okay,
me the
that's
cow
cute.
juice.
That's really cute.
But I had to learn English, and I had to work. So not knowing much English, the first job was picking corn. And
Picking corn, like corn,
ears of corn. Yeah, I was
here in Utah.
Yeah, we here in Utah we produce very good corn, and I'm a good corn picker. I have to say. So I picked corn for a local farm and tomatoes. I learned when the corn is ready. Corn is really good also just raw. coming out of the stem. So I learned a lot about corn, and that job didn't last much, but it gave me some good experience. It made me realize that I had to go back to school because I didn't want to go picking corn the rest of my life. But it was a good experience. I went to BYU shortly after, and my English really came as a great blessing.
Because you were almost immersed, I think, in the society here, in the culture. So you had no choice probably then to really...
I was very driven. You can't keep me quiet. So I learned to speak much faster than I learned to understand. So people would just answer me with a very fast answer, and I would be like...
Yeah, because sometimes,
puzzled.
I mean, I've noticed that sometimes I can get going pretty quickly, and then I have to watch myself. So, yeah, it depends. Some of us speak quicker or faster, and then some of us speak slower. So, and I've had other foreign friends that come in, and they're going, "You're talking too fast. You're talking too fast. Slow down." So, yeah.
Yeah, it is the speed of the speech. It's a challenge for a foreigner for sure. Yeah. But going to BYU, I remember the first class I took was calculus.
Calculus.
Yes.
Now, why did you start off with calculus like that?
Because I didn't know any better. I've always been very driven. BYU was very generous. They gave me a scholarship because my grades were good in high school. And
now, how did that work? Because you went to university in Italy.
Yes.
And then you were in law school.
And
then so you left law school. And how does BYU, or Brigham Young University, is what we're talking about, the university here in Provo, how do they recognize that? They saw you as a graduate from university?
No, because I never completed my degree in law school. So I was the first year in law school when I went on my mission, and the exams that I had taken were not applicable to anything that we're doing here. BYU, I believe, accepted my biology. I had a biology test at high school level that was equivalent to a BYU general education course. So they took that class.
And that was it?
And that was it, yeah.
So you had a long haul.
Yeah, but I was very driven. I was like a little laser going through my prereq when I graduated in accounting.
So you graduated in accounting at the BYU
yes,
program. Okay,
the BYU program.
And that's a good program, by the way.
It is.
It's a very good program.
Ranked back in the days, I think number 3 in the nation.
Yeah, it's
and I really enjoyed the program. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of BYU. I have to say, most people that come from a different country find BYU rules and regulations quite strict and sometimes annoying.
And whether you're LDS or whether you're not, Latter-day Saint or not.
Yeah, and because it's a different environment.
Now why do you say that? What do you feel that is? What drives that?
I remember being called by the, I don't know the department, but it was just like the honor code. Okay. I remember being called with a letter by the honor code. And my wife said, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I have no idea. Let me go find out." So I went and talked to this gentleman at the honor code there at BYU. And he said, "Well, you have been reported to us because you went and took a test and you didn't shave."
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
and in that moment, I realized why most people really can't
some people, they don't.
BYU.
Yeah, they don't like it because of the rules. You're right. There's strict rules and stuff, and it is a private university, so they can do their own. They can make their own rules.
They can make their own rules.
As opposed to a public university. Yeah.
I have to say, I might be a little different. I was also much older than most students there. I remember my last class at BYU was American Heritage.
Okay.
I didn't want to take American Heritage.
That's
a
hard class at BYU.
Heritage. Yeah.
A very hard class.
I always postponed it. And then at the very end, that was last class left. And I went to school, and I remember this kid who was probably 18 coming to me and says, "Can I add your class, sir?" And I thought, I don't want to take this class.
So they thought you were the professor.
Study.
Oh, that's really cute. I like that.
But BYU was a blessing. It taught me a lot of things. I enjoyed the time there. I was teaching there at BYU. I was also working in Novell.
So what did you teach
full-time.
At BYU?
I was teaching Italian.
Oh, you were teaching Italian.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that, too, because some other students that I had a Russian tutor, and he's a student there at BYU, but he also teaches at BYU. He's from Russia. And so he's been my Russian tutor just recently. And they do seem to get the kids that are coming in that are foreigners that have, a language, obviously language of the hometown language or home country language, and use them to teach which is pretty nice because you could use the money, I'm sure. I mean, there's a good experience and things like that.
It is a great experience that interacting with the students, and actually it taught me a lot about Italian.
Really?
Being native is an advantage, but understanding really the Italian grammar was great. It was great. It gave me a great foundation of my own language.
Did you have to learn a different way, almost like a different language for Italian because you're teaching it, or is it just that you know what I mean? Like, did you have to? Is it a different way to speak it when you when you're reading something as opposed to just speaking it?
You need to be able to explain to people why they have
why
to
the
use
grammar rules.
why they have to use a specific way of saying something or a tense.
Mm-hmm.
In Italian, we have many tenses, and each one means something different.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like English, so it is. There's a lot in common, and that also helped my English. So I'm a little grammar freak. I also work in a novel. I was in the linguistic department there. We were doing translation and localization, and so my eye was very well trained to identify mistakes, errors,
and were you were translating for novel?
Yes, and so that was probably my first big job, something that I really felt could have made a change in my life. And I remember just during those years in school, I was just super busy. I was teaching at BYU. I was reffing high school soccer.
Oh, okay.
I was working full-time in Novell. I was going through my junior core at the accounting program. And I started a marketing company doing marketing surveys. So every Saturday.
So you started a company even when you were doing all of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, my first business, which was an incredible flop, was whybooks.net.
Whybooks.net.
Yeah, we had the idea with a friend, Marco Bellini, which is now working for Microsoft in Seattle. We had the idea to create a website where students could exchange their used books without going through the bookstore.
Oh.
And we created a website, and we were excited about this idea. And then we were so busy with finals, and we were so busy with our little families that we never marketed it. We never did anything with it. So a couple of years later, that idea was taken to a national level by people that actually knew what they were doing. But that was a great opportunity.
Yeah,
yes.
a good opportunity
Yes.
to experience.
Also, I heard that every good entrepreneur has to have a business fail.
Oh, you
to
do.
Really,
you have to.
So I got that out of the way right away.
That's the first thing.
Yes. So I've done that. I don't need to repeat that experience.
Oh, that's funny. So then from there, what did you do after that? You had that business experience, and then what was your next business?
So I did the surveys, and it was a door-to-door approach, and we worked really hard at it. Working for Novell.
Yeah, no, the surveys. What is that exactly? You just went door to door?
Yeah, it was door-to-door, asking people what they believed about Clinton's affair, or what did they believe about the government hiding secrets about UFOs. Or it was very random questions.
So how did you pick the questions?
The questions were formulated by companies back east.
Okay.
That they would just survey nationwide, and that was a job I used to do in Italy before coming here.
So then it was
and
familiar
so it
to
was
you
something
somewhat.
familiar to me. It was very easy for me to talk to people once I knew English. That was a job that I migrated into very easily. At the same time,
but it was your company, though.
I got so busy, that I started hiring interviewers because I didn't have the time to go and do the interviews. So I became more like a trainer, helping people to do the work and do it properly, professionally, how to get into somebody's house and do a good job.
And to sell.
And we weren't actually selling anything. We were just asking information.
But it's almost like a selling feature, because people, if you're doing a survey, people just slam the door on your face, kind of, wouldn't they? I mean, did you have that experience?
Oh, I remember one day in West Valley, and it was just one of those ragged neighborhoods, and their yards were just like, it seems like a herd of goats had been through the yards and things like that. And I remember knocking doors and people being simply rude, just slamming those doors.
Yeah.
Here in Utah, it's actually a very good place to do surveys because people are very friendly.
Okay, that's good. That's
and
good
I
to
was
hear that.
getting down I was feeling down a little bit. And I remember...
It's discouraging to have that happen, yeah.
I remember going to this lady and knocking on the door, and she was just like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Well, we're doing a survey, blah, blah, blah." And she said, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. And I turned around and I said, ma'am, you have a very beautiful yard. And I needed that. I needed to be positive. I needed to say something nice. And the lady, instead of shutting the door, opened the door again and said, thank you very much. And she didn't give me the survey, but she gave me a smile.
And that was worth it.
And it was really what I needed for the day, because, working out there in the cold or in the hot heat of I remember doing surveys in St. George, and it gets pretty hot.
Oh, it gets hot. And surveying in St. George.
Yeah, it gets pretty hot. But we were responsible for all Utah. So we would travel to places like those polygamous communities.
Oh, yes.
Yes, down south. And they were very
friendly?
They were not very friendly.
No, okay.
It was kind of hard for them to want to share information. You would ask them, basically, tell me about your family and things like that.
They
would be
they don't want to.
Very defensive.
They don't want to say much about that.
Yeah,
that's
justifiable. So.
Yeah. And once again, folks, you're listening to 1480 AM, or if you want to view this program, you can do so at UtahValleyLive.com. Again, www.utahvalleylive.com is where you can view this program. And we are speaking to owner and proprietor of Terra Restaurant, located across from the movie theaters, the Cinemark movie theaters in the University Mall. And we are running a special, or Ernesto is running a special, and if you want to tell him real quick, Ernesto, about the special that you are offering today.
Sure. For the whole day, you guys can come in and order 2 pizzas, any kinds of pizzas, for $14.80, just for the 1480 AM. So
that's perfect.
Just mention the $14.80, and you get 2 pizzas for that price.
That's great. And then so where were we? We were talking about your jobs. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a company, and you very. What did you say? What did you call yourself earlier? You said you were not aggressive. You were.
I was very focused.
Focused and
driven.
Driven. That's it. Driven. Yeah.
Yeah. Unusually so, I guess. I mean, I come from a place where 37% unemployment it's a normal rate in my city, and so you come here and all of a sudden you have so many opportunities, and you don't know when to say. I didn't know when to say no, so
when
I ended
up.
Yeah, when to stop. I was like a child in a candy store. I wanted everything.
Yeah.
Also because.
Did you feel that you were going to that would be your experience here? I mean, you probably knew a little bit about the United States because you married an American, but did you think that that's the way you would feel once you got here? The candy store and all these opportunities, and just to go for and start making your way, in as far as business and things like that.
No, I had no idea.
So it was a surprise?
Yeah, it was a great surprise. Yeah. But you see, while I was picking corn, for instance, I was always looking at the best way to picking corn. Mm-hmm. Soon after, even though I didn't speak English, I was the guy that was in charge of selling the corn. I remember these old geezers coming to me and says, just give me half a dozen. And I was like, what, sir? I don't understand. Half a dozen, give me 2 dozens. And I was like way over my head. Mm-hmm. But I remember trying to communicate with these people, and people be always very, very kind, very nice. But I will always think about ways to improve on processes, how to make things more effective. Mm-hmm. And when I got my job at Novell, I remember feeling that instability. You have a job, but you never know when you're going to be laid off.
Yeah, because Novell did go through that change.
Novell was going through that challenge, but it is also an American thing. Mm-hmm. People here are accustomed to go from job to job with no problem. Mm-hmm. Where I come from, instead, you get a job, you stay with that job for the rest of your life.
Okay.
And so it's very unlikely that you have the freedom to choose.
To switch.
Every 2 years, a new job, career, or follow your dreams. Mm-hmm. Your job is your job.
And back in Italy, Ernesto, do you guys follow the footsteps of your parents? Say, for instance, if my dad was a doctor, then I'd be a doctor. The males in the culture there. Or if my dad was a teacher, I would be a teacher.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But what parents do, their life savings are for their children.
Okay.
And so children are expected to have a head start. If my dad is a doctor, I'm most likely will be a doctor because I can take over my dad's practice, which is similar to what it is here most of the case. Mm-hmm. I mean, but if my dad is a doctor and I do not want to be a doctor, his savings are part of his savings are for me to start me up in any career or anything that I want to do.
Now, the savings, are they mostly to educate, or is it to start a business?
It is to start a business. Education is more of a social thing. So you go to school for a couple $1,000s for the whole year tuition.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
As long as you stay in course. And back in the days when I went to school, it was like more like $100 for a whole year tuition. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
$100.
So it was.
So
it was
now,
not
why
much.
is it so expensive now? Is it just because of the inflation? I mean,
Well, education is still not very expensive compared to the United States. So.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad. And it's because it's a social.
Yes.
Socialist, and so the government pays mainly to educate.
Yes.
Yeah, but inflation over there is pretty high, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, since they changed from the lira to the euro, people have been suffering to adjust things.
Do they regret that? Do you think? Your take?
You know, I don't know, but yeah, most people probably do regret that. People feel that they were better off before the European Union. Yeah, with the lira.
And how long ago was it, or what was the year kind of when that changed, when they went to euro?
I think it was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was probably in 2000 or I'm not sure actually, but it was quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's funny how time just collapses, and you look back
when you get
and
to
it
be our
seems
age,
yesterday. Yeah, exactly. I don't have that time.
It kind of seems
anymore.
to be blurred a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't believe I have been here for over 15 years now.
Have you been here that long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And you've done a lot.
Yeah, I've been keeping really busy. It's been
Yeah.
just my passion is creating business, and so during
And
these
successful
years,
ones. Successful
yeah,
ones.
some
Ernesto.
have been very successful. Yeah,
Mhm.
I went after Novell. I went to work for Intel, and then I really realized that I wasn't cut for corporate America. I didn't enjoy it that much. So
we have some of the production laughing about this.
yeah, I felt that that is challenging to be noticed. It's challenging to really be able to express yourself freely. So I started my own translation agency, and that was in 1999, towards the end of 1999. And the company, Globalization Group, has been a stronghold for me, has been a great company to have. We have served companies like New Skin or Omniture, now Adobe, and we have grown over the years. And
so what, it's Globalization?
Globalization Group is a translation agency. We do
Okay.
translations of any kind in any language. In fact, we have done translation in languages I didn't even know existed.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
so then you have people that work for you that speak several languages throughout. What are some of the languages that they speak?
Well, in the office we cover Chinese, Japanese, German, Spanish, French, Italian. Let me think if there is anything else. But that's pretty much what we have in the office. But we work mostly with freelancers around the globe.
Do you get some of the students from BYU to do this, or is it a local, or is it more?
No.
Okay, so it's not local.
We want to have people that have at least a master degree in their own country in order to do the kind of translations that we do. So our requirements for the translator are pretty high.
Okay, but it's an American.
BYU has a very good translation program.
Yeah, they do.
And students come out, they're well-rounded, well-prepared, but it is something that they have to gain experience, and we give some opportunities with internships to some of those students.
Oh, good.
But most of the work is done by freelancers around the globe. In fact, Terra has been simply a hobby project,
a fun thing for you.
thing to do.
How many people can actually say that? I opened up a restaurant just to have some fun and to eat my favorite homemade recipes.
Exactly.
And that's hats off to you.
I had a lot of
amazing.
people coming to me and say, "Where can I go for good Italian food?" And I'm like, "Come to my
come
house.
to my house, yes.
Come to my house. I'll cook for you."
Yeah.
But there was one thing I couldn't cook. I couldn't make this Napoleon-style pizza, and every
because of the trademark.
Because of the ingredients being
okay.
imported, because the brick oven has to be a specific brick oven, and I honestly didn't know how to make it. And so I decided, well, why not make an Italian pizzeria restaurant?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that everybody knows that we are across the new Cinemark,
Correct.
behind the University Mall.
Terra Mia restaurant is not in the University Mall itself, but you do have also.
It is part of the same complex.
Right. It is part of the same complex in the same block, that whole area. They are actually across the street from the Cinemark movie theaters in the University Mall area. And the other little restaurant that you had, and I shouldn't say little, but the other break-off, would you call it a break-off restaurant, is inside the mall
food court.
itself, the food court. So if you go to the food court, there's Mamma Mia, which is also part of Terra Mia, which Terra Mia is across from the movie theaters. And again, today we have a little special going on, being that you're listening to 1480 AM. Ernesto and Terra Mia are offering 2 pizzas for
1480.
1480,
Yes.
yeah.
So choose any pizzas. The most expensive one is the calzone.
Okay, no, let's go over the menu because, we want to do this. And it's lunchtime when we're trying to make people hungry and try to make them to come and visit your restaurant. And, I don't like to push anything I haven't had or had somebody, to, give me a reference as to, an establishment to try. But honestly, your stuff is really, really good. And so you have signature pastas, and I'm looking right now at the menu, folks. And you can go online to Terra Mia.
TerraMiaOnline.com.
TerraMiaOnline.com, and you can find the recipe there. And for the price point is great. The environment is great. The staff is great. You'll even be able to hear people speaking Italian as they're making your pizzas, which is fantastic. So okay, so let's talk about the menu. Can look right here and share that. Talk about one thing I did find out is that, and you informed me this, was that the Alfredo. Tell me about Alfredo, because I don't know if the rest of the listeners.
Our penne Alfredo with chicken is our best seller, and it is the only thing that it's not an Italian dish in our restaurant.
Now, why is that, and how could that be?
Well, Alfredo sauce is something that was created here in the United States by Italians, but it wasn't something that in Italy you cannot go in a place and say, I want a piatto di Alfredo, because there's no such sauce in Italy.
So if we were to travel to Italy and ask for this dish, we would be laughed at, or just
pretty much. Just I have a very funny story that I just heard from a friend who owns a restaurant over there, and an American was there, and he was eating his meal, and he asked the waiter for some oil and some vinaigrette, balsamic vinegar and oil. He just poured
delicious, yes.
And he just dipped his bread, and he was very surprised that there was no vinaigrette and olive oil at the table. And the waiter said, well, sir, we generally don't do this, and we especially don't do it in our ashtrays. So he used the ashtray and poured the vinaigrette and the olive oil and dipped it.
Oh,
of course, it was a clean ashtray. People don't smoke in restaurants anymore. But the fact that people are so accustomed here to dip their bread
in a little teeny, looks like an ashtray.
Plate, it's really not something that we do in Italy very much.
So do you dip it just in oil?
No, actually, we don't dip it in oil. We can maybe do some cleaning of our plate with the sauce afterwards.
So then,
depending on the
oil,
restaurant where you go, I wouldn't recommend that in a very fancy restaurant either.
So then you don't use the oil. You don't do the oil.
No.
See, I always thought that's
maybe at people's house. I mean, I remember growing up and my mom making bread with butter and sugar, or just salt and pepper and some olive oil. But it was mostly something I would do at home. You won't find that in restaurants.
Oh, that's interesting. See, that you've learned something today, folks. This is fascinating.
Another thing that's important to know is Italy. It's a very long country. It's compared to California, so weather is very different, and of course the dialects are very different, and the style of cuisine is very different. People that eat in Italy will seldom find the same kind of pizza, depending on which region they are. So Napolitan pizza is rated #1 in the world across every nation, every country. Napolitan pizza has been ranked #1
now, why
as
is
a
that?
style of pizza.
It's just the style?
I think it's just that I find people, it's very fresh ingredients. For instance, the sauce, it's fresh tomato, it's crushed tomatoes. It's not that we cook that sauce.
And I'm totally getting hungry, but go ahead.
Yeah, and our pizza is made and it's been tramandata was the Italian word. It's been given the recipe from generation to generation.
Okay, so transferred,
yeah. So it's something that they're very, very proud of. The amount of yeast they use, the way they raise the dough.
Now, you said that earlier about that it's not a very thick crust pizza; it's a very thin crust pizza.
Yes.
So do they use a lot of yeast or no?
No. In fact, it has a natural rising. And if nowadays people can speed up that process. If they want to add more yeast, they can. But most of the time, it's very naturally raised, so that you don't have that. It's much easier to digest. That's the goal, basically, for Napoleon pizza. But one of the items on this menu that I'm very proud of is the lasagna classica. I brought that lasagna classica from my great-grandmother's recipe. It's the sauce is made with different kinds of meat. It's cooked for many hours, and without telling too much, you have to try it and then tell me what you think. We welcome people feedback. We have a page on Facebook as well. And I also want to mention about Mamma Mia,
Sure,
the other restaurant that we have, because we're just opening. So we're trying to get fans through Facebook. So the offer that I want to give everybody is this: right now on Facebook, if you find our Mamma Mia restaurant, and that one is in the food court of the University Mall, and you become a fan, you will receive a message and a coupon from us. So
good.
It's something that will probably give you 50% off.
Oh, good. So you go to Facebook and you add Mamma Mia?
You become
Facebook
a fan
Okay.
of Mamma Mia, and of
Okay.
course become a fan of Terra Mia too.
Okay, yes. And we will do that, definitely.
And
Yes, right, guys? Yes? Oh, yeah, we're all running out the door as soon as this program ends, but go
Yes.
ahead.
So we look forward to have many fans. Terra Mia right now has about 1,200 fans. And
Yeah, we need to promote that because
Yeah.
people need to know that this is Italian cooking straight, someone coming from Italy who's been there, lived there, from there, and, just feeding us Italian food. So
Yeah, and I love cooking, and everything on my menu, it's something I like. So if you don't like it, forgive me, but I
we'll
do.
blame Ernesto.
Yeah, blame me. But it's very authentic, except for the Alfredo, which, funny enough, it's our bestseller. People really like it. The other thing that's very interesting for us, we make everything. We make our bread fresh every day.
Yes, and your
our
bread's
gelato.
really good.
Yeah,
the
it
bread's
is.
really good.
Can you
It's
imagine
fresh.
me coming from Italy in '96 and looking at the bread in those bags that you call bread?
Oh, yes, I know. It's probably,
Yeah.
what is this?
I'm like, what is that? Where is my bread? And all of a sudden, those old songs about immigrants and Napolitan songs that my dad used to play in our dining room, I remember those. I remember, I understand now what they meant
What they
for
meant by
bitter
it.
bread for us immigrants.
Yeah.
The bread
Interesting.
is a big component of somebody's diet, especially in Italy.
Now,
And
why is that?
it's something that you're so accustomed to.
So
It
do you eat
gives
every
you that
meal with
familiar.
bread?
Yeah, we do. We eat a lot of bread, and also bread in Italy is very different.
Okay,
you
how's
you
it different?
you have eat bread from different regions. It's softer, it's crunchier, it's salted, it's not salted.
Now the bread
it's
that's
flat.
but the bread that's in your restaurant, it's soft in the middle, and it's been served warm. I've had it warm, but yet it has like it's a little crust.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I like it.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too. You guys like it? Yeah, we're totally. Yep. So
Yeah.
okay, so then we've got fresh bread made there. Wonderful dishes. We have pasta.
So we have
And then-
our signature pastas. We have different kinds of pasta. You can try them all. One thing that I want to invite people to do is not to just. I have a lot of people who love my lasagna. They never try anything else.
I get like that too.
Yeah.
It's just you go to a restaurant and you find something you really like. You go, oh, I don't want to take a chance on that, or but I'm going to get more brave.
I would
So
say take
I
a chance,
think
and if
so.
you don't like it, come back to me, and I'll give you something else.
Yeah.
So we really want to invite people to try new things.
Right.
We have Maria Monti. Maria Monti is a dish made with bow tie, pasta, smoked salmon, lobster sauce, and peas. So you have this mix of maybe in English would say surf and turf.
Surf and turf?
Yeah,
Okay,
something like that.
Uh-huh.
But for us, it's a delicious dish. You have to try it, and of course the pizza. The pizza is very healthy. It's big. It can be shared, and I feel that it was one thing that I really missed the most
Is the
of
pizza?
Naples. Yes, the pizza was one thing.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, yeah, you miss that kind of food. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as desserts, of course, everybody goes for the gelato because it's so renowned. But my favorite there is the tiramisu.
Mine too. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to mention that. The tiramisu is fabulous, and I love it. And
do not ask me for the recipe. I won't give it to you. So we get that question all the time.
Yeah, I know. How did you make that? Mom's the word with these guys. So, but it's funny because when my daughter and she loves tiramisu as well. She goes, well, I'm trying to cut down on calories. Do you want to share? I said, no, I don't want to share. You have your own. I have my own. And that's the only thing because normally when I go somewhere, I normally half a dish. Because I get full. It's a good portion.
And it is a very generous portion. So I'm impressed that you were able to eat it all.
Yes, I will eat it all. And if not, I take it home and I continue eating there. So yes, the tiramisu is very good. And there's another dessert that you have on the menu. What is that one there? And we're looking at a picture, folks.
The beignet is it's like a cream puff.
Okay.
But instead of having cream, it has a custard inside.
Right, it has a custard, and it has like a chocolate syrup.
Yes.
On top.
Chocolate dripping on top,
yeah.
And it's served warm, and the custard inside it's cold. Mm-hmm. So you have this nice contrast. Yeah, it's delicious too.
Yeah, it's very, very good. And so you got the gelato, the tiramisu. How do you say that again? Beignet. Beignet. And then you have it with gelato.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Also, another thing that many people with lots of kids like myself can do, they can order a pizza Nutella.
Okay,
pizza Nutella it's a pizza and it has Nutella, which is this Italian hazelnut chocolatey cream.
Now, is Nutella, is that Italian originally?
Yeah.
My daughter loves that.
Yeah. My kids say Nutella makes the world a better place.
Yeah. And Nutella is like a peanut butter, yes?
Yeah, it's
not made from peanuts, but it's creamy like
it's creamy as peanut butter, and it's chocolatey, and it has this hazelnut flavoring to it.
It's really good. And the calories?
I wouldn't consider that very healthy, no.
No? Oh, okay, so it has got a lot of calories?
Yeah, so it's perfect for kids, but it is a good way to feed a whole, soccer team, a whole army of people, and it's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, that's good. Okay, and then let's go and we talked about pizza. What about when I go there, actually the margherita pizza is delicious. I love the margherita pizza.
Yeah, the margherita pizza is a classic. There's some pizzerias in Naples that only have margherita pizza. They don't even bother about making other kinds of pizza.
And whereabouts again in Naples?
In Naples.
Okay.
Yeah, in Naples.
Okay.
So there's a couple pizzerias that started in the in the 19th century, and they're just really, really classic, and everybody goes there because they have.
Is that a classic pizza? Would you say margherita?
The margherita is
pizza?
Margherita and marinara, which is the one without any mozzarella cheese, just tomato and oregano. So those are the two classic pizzas, but margherita is by far the most popular.
And what does it have on it? What is the margherita?
Margherita has tomato sauce, and it's crushed tomatoes, and then it has the mozzarella cheese. It's fresh mozzarella, and it has basil, olive oil, and a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
Okay, let's see. What about the Terra pizza?
Well, each one of these pizzas are made according to our own taste, but also according to what the tradition is in Naples. So we have the quattro stagioni, the quattro formaggi, which means 4 seasons, 4 cheeses. We have the pesto, the diavola. Those are all pizzas that we have not invented. The only one that we pretty much came up with is the Terra Mia and the Dezzamore.
And what is the Terra Mia?
We target them a little bit more to the American taste.
Yeah, because we have different tastes, huh?
Yeah, so we have pine nuts and chicken breast on them.
Really? Pine nuts, okay, and chicken breast.
So those are more of a favorite for the American taste. The chicken is not much. It's not used widely in Italian pizzas.
Really? I can imagine.
I can't think of one place with chicken on a pizza.
On my pizza.
But here, people like that. And Dezzamore, it's with sausage, smoked bacon,
that's kind of a cute
salami.
name. Did you name that? Dezzamore?
Yeah.
That's cute.
We decided to go for that. And that is a meat lover.
And, that's more. Okay.
And
so
the boys definitely like that the most.
Yeah.
So.
That's cute.
Another thing that we have introduced to the place here, and the Mamma Mia is doing incredibly well with, is the panuozzo.
Now,
the panuozzo is a huge sandwich. It's bigger beyond description. In fact, we offer a Mamma Mia a panuozzo, half a panuozzo for $4.95, which is an incredible amount of food. And then you can add a soup for only $2. And the comments that we're getting out of that is that it's a ton of food and it's gourmet food. People are not accustomed in a food court to have something that tastes so good.
Right.
And again, we make everything fresh from scratch, so that makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
And we appreciate people that stop by and comment on that. They say, you know, I'm amazed that you guys are in a food court, because the food that we have, it's very, very good. So come and try it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you want to join, you can join their Facebook. There's a Facebook offer. Do you want to talk about that a little
So
bit?
if you join us on Facebook right now, you look for Mamma Mia, and it's the restaurant. You like us, and you will receive in your inbox, you'll receive a coupon for 50% off.
Well, that's good. That's
Mamma
a
Mia.
good way to be able to try something
and
new.
Let's also remind everybody that at Terra Mia today, all day, you can order 2 pizzas for $14.80. Just remember $14.80 a.m. and $14.80 it's what you're going to pay for 2 pizzas.
That's right.
And you can also order via phone. We give the phone number again. 801-226-4757. 801-226-4757.
That's perfect, because you can call in your pizza, order your 2 pizzas, mention $14.80 a.m. and get it for $14.80. That's pretty clever.
And they now have 2 more fans on their Facebook page. It's now up to 1,202.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
That's good.
Keep
Thanks,
coming. Thank you.
So did we talk about the gelato yet? Oh, actually, no, we need to, because you can make custom pasta.
Yes.
Which is kind of nice. I mean, and you go to a restaurant and sometimes you have to order their dish, but you can make it custom a little bit.
Yes, and we thought that that is a very good way to go to make your own dish and your own pizza. You can customize both pasta and pizza. You can choose among different sauces. The bolognese sauce is the one that we have received from my great-grandmother, and you can choose that sauce, for instance, and add eggplants to it, and you can create your own dish. It's fun. My kid's favorite is the gnocchi.
Oh yeah, I just saw that on the website, and I haven't had gnocchi since I was in California. So you offer that?
Yeah, we offer gnocchi.
That's great news,
and we're going to put a gnocchi on our menu as a stable item starting in January.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, in fact, in January we're going to probably meet again, because we're going to have some exciting news that we want to share with the listeners.
Oh, great.
We're going to change many items on our menu, making more of a lunch special deal that people can have a smaller pizza for only $5-6 and things like that. But we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later.
That some more. Yeah. It's been a great honor to have Ernesto here with us, Ernesto Larousso, directly from Naples, Italy, and transplant here to the Provo area. And once again, Pat Sheranian, you're on the Pat Sheranian Show. I'm your host, Monica Barbour, for the hour. And join Pat again on Monday at noon. And again, if you have a chance, this is the lunch hour. It's Friday. Have some fun. Go to Terra Mia Restaurant and mention 1480 a.m. and get 2 pizzas for the price of $14.80. And if you haven't had a chance to try their soup, we got to try their soup. But anyhow, we got to wrap up, folks. Thanks again for joining us on 1480 AM or UtahValleyLive.com. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.